What time is it? It is game time. It is podcast time. Ooh, man, we're after 2 bye weeks. Life happens. We definitely deserve bye weeks more than the machine in Dallas because they don't deserve a damn thing. They deserve to get their ass beat over and over until their stupid owner just croaks or whatever because they don't deserve nothing at this point. They don't deserve pity. They don't deserve anything. Danny, obviously you can tell we're on so frustrated with right now. But welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we're all doing good and everything's moving in Arizona for you. Danny Ramirez, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Sun City Letterhead podcast. We're back from our bye weeks. Yeah, let's get. I mean, we have tons of stuff to talk about, right? Since we've missed a few things. But yeah, how we doing, Danny? How you been?
I've been pretty good. Life happened, but it's good to be back on the show, talking football again. I know we've missed a lot these last couple of weeks. A lot has happened, which we'll probably discuss a little bit later. But it's good to be back. How about you?
Right.
How are you
Uh,
doing? I
uh
I know I know your Cowboys aren't doing too good, but hey, at least you have the Yankees.
yeah, thank God. If it wasn't for the Yankees right now, I don't know how my life would be right now. Bumps and bruises on my end personally, but things that I'm gonna have to just shake off and get through. But yeah, other than that, thank God the Oregon Ducks and the Yankees right now are like helping my life for sure.
Hey, that was a good game. Gotta
That
give you that.
Oregon
Oregon looked
Ducks
good.
and the Ohio State Buckeyes, what a instant classic, right? The first time that they play each other as conference foes, and it lived up to the exact type of what everyone wanted, right? Like, oh man,
Yep.
can you imagine like just going forward at this point? Like they're going to be playing each other year in and year out from this point on, and might even clash in the playoffs too. So this is there's a lot of good things coming for that conference for sure.
They can play in the playoffs. They're gonna play in the regular season. They're probably gonna play in the conference championship
Right.
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't
So
think Michigan's as tough to like be those two right now. So
not this year. Yeah.
yeah, man, this is crazy. But yeah, the Yankees, man, they're so far looking good, and I've been telling you, Gabe, and whoever's asked right from baseball side of things, I said it was going to be a old school history Dodger Yankee collision in the World Series, and so far it might end up that way. But the New York Mets, man, I mean Cinderella, if there is a thing, Cinderella story. I mean, they were dead last in their division, and they sent Verlander back to Houston, and all this wholesale-ness. They're like, we're just gonna wholesale everything, and we'll just figure something out. Well, they definitely figured it out because now they're in the National League Championship Series, so good for them.
That's the one thing I love about baseball is that no matter like if you're a wild card team, there's always a good chance that you can make a run and
I,
get to the
that,
championship.
that's honestly like because there's so many baseball and hockey games, right? And like that's the two things. Probably the main thing I love about each sport is that if you get hot at the right time, you could have been not the one seed, you could have been just barely making it in. But if you get hot at the right time in hockey or baseball, like it's a golden thing for you. And of course, the NBA is a little different. Of course, they like to choose who they want to play with and blah blah blah. And but yeah, the NFL,
Y-
man, it's good to be the one seed or just kind of like get into a rhythm because like it's better that way. But the other two sports for sure, like if you strike lightning, it'll take you off.
Definitely, yeah. Though the NBA, to your point, I think it's a rare occasion, right, when that happens. I think the most recently we saw with Miami Heat being the eighth seed, and they made it
Right.
all the way to the NBA Finals, which is rare. But yeah, with football, I mean that's probably a good likelihood of happening is where a wild card team gets hot at the right time and then they go all the way
Right.
to the Super Bowl. In
And going
baseball,
back to
same
your
thing.
point, like how you said NBA is a bit different. The Heat have been to the championship twice in the last 5 years, so it's not like they weren't new to the experience. So yeah, so like the Mets, and then hockey. Man, I love hockey. There's two new teams last year in the Stanley Cup final, so that was beautiful just to have something different, right? So
Yep.
uh man, but yeah, so let's get into some breaking news, Danny. So breaking news in Dallas: Jerry Jones was threatening radio hosts because he doesn't want to do anything else. He doesn't want to improve the team or do anything. He wants to, just keep playing with himself and just threaten like people that he shouldn't have to worry about. But you know what? Hats off to them for them finally asking the right question, because Cowboys fans and anyone around that vicinity needs to start just screaming their head off and be like, when are you going to change? Hire a real GM and change your philosophy, because obviously it's clearly not working. But we're doing breaking news, so two teams that are definitely trying. They're kind of like, maybe we're a tier away. So the Buffalo Bills go out and get Amari Cooper, who's a studded wide receiver to help. I mean, Shakir, Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Kincaid. I mean, Curtis Samuel. I think that's gonna open up a whole another level for Josh Allen. And then you go to the other team in their division where, two people rekindled their relationship, and I'm sorry, it was me. Let's hold hands again. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers reunite, and now they're a New York Jets organization. So
The last, it's called The Last Dance Part 2, 2.0.
I know. Save the last dance for me, right? Like that's a song, that's a movie, but it we'll see who works out for more, right? Because they just played on Monday night, and both teams they looked pretty equal to me. Even there were some
Yeah.
injuries, but we're talking about the youth in Buffalo, right? How would it affect? Well, they lost two straight. Well, they get two starters back, and actually those two starters were the reasons why the Jets didn't come out to the victory, in my opinion. Rapp and Johnson, who one's I think is safety and one's a linebacker. I mean, they were all over the field for Buffalo, and they helped tremendously to secure that win against New York. I think if they weren't in there, I think Aaron Rodgers has more yards, more points added, and I think New York wins. But yeah, hats off to Buffalo for getting people back and getting Amari Cooper, right? So like, man, they're just like they're gaining that wealth at the right time, probably. And obviously, we you and I don't mind Buffalo, right? We like Buffalo. It's just one of those teams that you're just like you kind of root for, because they've always been one of those short end of the stick into teams. So how do you feel about Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams, Danny?
I like the Amari Cooper one. The Devonte Adams is dangerous. And let me start with Amari Cooper. I think with Amari Cooper, he's kind of proven and shown, wherever he's gone, whether that be the Raiders, whether that be the Cowboys or the Browns, like he's gonna be productive, right? He's
Right,
he's a great route runner, and honestly, I think that's what the Bills are missing. I think they went ahead and then went crazy in the free agency, signing like all these different receivers, like Chase Claypool, Marquez Valdez Scantling, and none of them really took that next step, right? So
right,
Cooper, I think, is going to be the one to take that step, elevate that offense a little bit more. And then also you have Curtis Samuel there. That's kind of, kind of the, what do they call it? The slot receiver, if you want to say.
right.
They use him in so many different ways, but I think both from comparing both teams, I think the Bills are going to have more success with this addition than Devonte Adams. Like with Devonte Adams, it's already dangerous, right? You fired Robert Saleh thinking it was him. I still saw the same Jets performance. Like the offense looked the same, the defense looked the same. Nothing was special under Ulbrich. Um, and then Devonte Adams, I mean, he's still a really great receiver, but you're getting him probably towards the back end of his career. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look the same as he did, right? He does okay. He's a serviceable quarterback right now. But, I think their time together is probably going to run pretty short. I don't think it's going to amount to much. I don't think it's going to take them to a Super Bowl. It might take them to the playoffs possibly, but I just don't see nothing special here. So yeah, if I had to rate the Jets one, I would say it's just a band-aid right now, really.
So what I feel, which is to me is like it's one of those like maybe we did it a little too late, right? Because Devontae wasn't happy. He was on the trade block for a while. And what if he was the difference maker to help you beat Buffalo on Monday night because you're just missing a few points, right? And he's guaranteed at least one touchdown. So
Yep.
I think that this game was a telltale sign to which team was going to go where. Buffalo took a few leaps on the division now because they beat New York, and then New York took a few tumbles just because they lost to Buffalo. And then, and you know what's crazy is the thing that like Miami's number 2 in the division, and look at their struggles. So like you look at that, I think that they should have done Devontae a lot sooner instead of firing a coach, which Aaron Rodgers is good at. Like we're divide and conquer, and like when he's not happy, changes need to happen. Except for him, like he still throws interceptions. So yeah, and that's another thing too. We're talking about Salah, Devontae Adams, and with the Jets organization. Like breaking news, I'm like he went into London, threw 3 picks. That's not on the coach. I mean, your coach isn't out there throwing the ball. So I'm like, play calling maybe is a little factor, but I'm like, and plus, your guy who you like, Nathaniel Hackett, is the one that's calling the plays and offensive coordinator at that specific time. Your head coach is a defensive minded coach. So technically your knowledge is coming from the guy that you wanted there to begin with and not the head coach. So to me, it's a bit frustrating. I see where like people wanted to change because remember I said week 1, I'm like, they looked flat. This guy's going to be on the hot seat just because he's got Aaron Rodgers healthy now. Rodgers is not going to, he's going to blow the whistle. And sure enough, like that's the first coach gone. But yeah, I think the Devontae Adams thing will give a spark to the Jets. But seeing how everything has shaped up since after that Monday night game, maybe you're just a little too far back already to make it a good run compared to Buffalo, who's like if Buffalo stumbles because of injuries again, then I'm going to be like, okay, maybe the Jets have a favorite. But you look at the AFC, you got Pittsburgh winning record. You have Baltimore, obviously, those are the 2 in that division. Then you have, of course, Buffalo, which is in your division if you're in New York. You have the Chargers, the Chiefs, who are doing well, and then Denver's surprising people now because Sean Payton's letting Bo run around, which Bo is really good at, and obviously Drew Brees is more pocket. Bo is very accurate, just like Drew Brees, but he likes to scramble a bit. So now Denver's surprising team. So maybe you lose to a Denver team, like the Jets might lose. I don't know who else they have in their schedule, but I'm just saying there's teams. The Texans are not gonna you're not gonna be above them. So I mean, like, are you a little too far, even though you're gonna make a push? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parity in the AFC, so I'm not too concerned about that. That's why I still think they can make the playoffs. But to me, to your point, what you were saying right now, it's like they're looking somewhere to place the blame, right? They used Salah, they used Nathaniel Hackett. It was still the same New York Jets team on Monday night, and they had a new play caller, they had a new coach, and it's like, okay, now you got Devontae Adams. When we see the Jets go out there again next week and still have some, I don't know. To me, it just seems like they don't know what they want to run, right? They try to run the football and it doesn't work. They try to pass and it's like real short, or the receivers drop it, or it's just not very productive.
Right.
So what's going to happen now with Devontae Adams being on the team, and we still have the same type of outcome? Like, where are they going to place the blame, right? It's just a matter of time. So I think this could spiral out of control if they're not careful. And they just got to be honest with each other, right? Motivate the players to do better. They've had a lot of flags these last couple of weeks. They're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL.
Yeah, they're like the Dallas Cowboys. Coaching. It's terrible. Like no coaching whatsoever. But I will say, I'm surprised that Greg Zuerlein wasn't fired the next day, because I was like, me, my aunt, my dad, and everyone's texting like, who's Aaron Rodgers going to blame now? I was like, dude, he's about to get the kicker fired, because technically if he makes 2, they win the game, but he missed 2. So I'm like, oof. And then you go back to Mike Williams, he, of course, Aaron Rodgers' press conference, I thought he was going to go down the red line, but he didn't go down the red line. So I don't know. I just threw it. And I was like, damn, is Mike Williams going to get tossed too? But I'm hoping the Jets are smart and talk to Aaron. Hopefully Aaron's smart too about it. Devontae coming is actually going to help Mike Williams. And let me say why. Devontae and Wilson are going to be the 1-2, which is exactly what they want. Now, Mike, all he has to do is do what he did in Los Angeles with the Chargers now and be that slot high, go get it in the end zone at the goal line receiver. And that's going to help him not have to run so many routes that Aaron wants. And that's just going to help Aaron score more touchdowns. because Devontae and Wilson are going to get your touchdowns from the 30s, the 40s. You know, they're explosive. They are top receivers of where they are, right? So Mike Williams, being as tall as he is and physical he is, you don't have to use him as much anymore. You don't have to like, hey man, let's do a seam route with you. Like, let's try to get you in the focus and in the game. Now you could just, oh, okay, we're in the 15. Mike, just jump ball. Here we go. It's like, okay, cool. I'm good with that. And I'm excited just to see how Devontae and Wilson work, because like you look at tandems in the NFL, they just became a tandem.
Yep.
So I'm that's where I'm excited just to see um like where they go, because Shakir in Buffalo, I think is still like a year away to being like, all right, I'm the lead dog. So now like Cooper and him are gonna like, I think Cooper going there is gonna help him tremendously, because now Cooper's that vet. He'll show him like, you know, the nitty gritty of things that he may not know. And Shakir in year 3 is gonna be, I think, phenomenally lights out. Like he's doing amazing right now, but he's got, you know, he's got injuries, and you know, he's still youthful. So he's learning the game. But you have that vet and Amari Cooper to help him along the way. Like that's just gonna, and he's not a diva like Diggs. So, and I don't know how Cooper, like, it's one of those unsung hero things, right? Like that's why you're an unsung hero, because you take all the hits and then you just go and do. Because what happened? He was with the Raiders. They trade him away because they're like, well, we're crappy. Let's get rid of him. And he goes to Dallas. All he does is perform well, help CD grow. Then Jerry, being Jerry, well, he's looking better than I thought he would be, and then he's better. He looks better than me on camera. So there he goes. You ship out your number one receiver, which is scoring and producing for you, like, which makes no sense. Just like he gets rid of Jimmy Johnson, right? Like all the good players that are developing and providing, they get tossed. So he goes to Cleveland, who has terrible quarterbacking play his entire career in Cleveland, and all he does is perform.
Yeah,
this year, he's
baller.
tired. He's exhausted. He's tired of being in crappy positions and crappy offensive line, crappy quarterback play. I get that he's dropping passes because his head and his heart is not there, because he's seen it over and over and over again.
He's going to be rejuvenated over here with
Oh,
Buffalo.
and now he has Josh Allen. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
This thing, I think they're gonna light it up. If they click on like a Diggs and Allen level without the diva-ness, it is gonna be intense.
Yeah, that's kind of like the undervalued trade, really, right? It's like somebody who's already been in the league for several years. You don't think you're gonna get too much out of them, but it has the making of something special, right? Because of the potential that Cooper has shown, even when he's been on weak teams, like he's still the brightest spot on that offense.
Right.
And so going from that to now a perennial playoff team, like watch out.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, now I'm Buffalo. I'm like, all right, man, let's see what you can do for sure. So I know. So Cam Akers, Danny, gets traded to the Minnesota Vikings. So the rich get richer, and then I guess Houston was like, well, we got a lot of depth. We're good. Let's all right. You can go.
They don't though. Like they have.
But that's what is surprising.
Hurt. Mixon's been hurt. Like now, it's like Cam Akers was the one that was kind of stepping up. You know,
right? And that's what I don't get. But you know what? Because Aaron Jones is going to be out a little bit because he hurt his hip. So I'm like, man, if Minnesota can keep their their grind going, and then AJ comes back, they're going to have AJ and Cam Akers on the same field. And if they're still in a good position of like being the number one seed, can you imagine just like, because Cam Akers guarantees you at least 6 points. And that me saying that means that like he'll at least get you to a field goal range plays, because they'll use him as a scat back to like swing pass, and then boom, he's off and gets you like 15-17 yards that you need on a third down. So Minnesota, man, if they can use this right, it can just add to their danger.
Yeah, no, that's a good pickup for depth as well. Aaron Jones been doing really well. and Cam Akers has shown what he can do. I think he's
Right.
now figuring out, how to be a good running back, right? And what I mean by that is just he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. So you could tell like the last couple of years he hasn't really had the confidence to go out there. It seems like he's been playing kind of scared. Well, this preseason and then these last couple of weeks with the Texans, like he's shown he can be that third down back. And he stepped in, admirably with the Texans during this time. So for Aaron Jones to be down, what a what a better running back to get than Cam
Right.
Akers right now to kind of help you through that process.
And so, so I'm reading some stuff right now, and I'm like, this team started 2-0, beat the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys and Carolina Panthers, and people are like, damn, this offense is gonna be unstoppable. And then they've lost every game since the New Orleans Saints. And like I said, Dennis Allen, I think, has always been a better defense coordinator. He just doesn't know how to,
Yeah.
especially when the roller coaster's falling apart, like he doesn't know how to wrangle it. So now get this, Rashid Shaheed, who's been technically probably their best receiver and deep threat, he has surgery. So now they're going to figure out if he's going to be out a few weeks to the entire season. And
I
then
just saw before we jumped on, he's out for the year.
Chris Olave is out for tomorrow's game.
They're going to be hurting.
Yeah, and then you're playing a Denver team who has one of the best defenses in the NFL right now and a chippy offense. Like the Saints could be in trouble tomorrow. With that being said, because like the Saints have more veterans, they're not as youthful as the Denver Broncos right now. But with these injuries, that youth can really show up tomorrow.
Yeah, no, they're in a really tough position. And it's funny how as NFL fans, right, we get so excited within the first couple of weeks of the season and we think, oh wow, they're for real. And then, something bad happens and it just, they go on a losing streak and it just changes the perception of that team. That's exactly what happened with the Saints. The Saints went from being an offensive powerhouse to start the year to now struggling to beat teams that they should be beating. And then now with these injuries to top it off, like it makes it an uphill climb.
I was one of the few people that are like, are they pretenders or are they contenders? Because I'm like, once things start to get a little shaky, can Dennis Allen regroup the team? And it has not happened. Yeah. And we're talking about Mike Williams. So Mike Williams did not practice today due to personal reasons, and he is expected to be the subject of trade talks. So we were just talking about, we're already talking about that. And then your boy, Danny, Justin Fields has the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-2. And he's still possibly going to be set this coming week. What is up with that? How do you feel about that?
That's it's dangerous. That's a dangerous game to be playing. Yes, Justin Fields has not lit up the league or anything like that, but he's been serviceable, right? He's led your team to several wins. That could have been another win. They could have been 5-1 if they would have just beat the Cowboys on Sunday night a couple weeks back. So he's done pretty good. I mean, he's doing exactly what they need him to do to win. So now, I mean, you're 4-2. You're not 2-4.
I know.
What I mean? Like, you're playing with the chemistry of the team. So let's say they do, they do have Russell Wilson become the starting quarterback. What happens if it spirals out of control? What happens if they go on a 3-game losing streak? What's that culture in the locker room going to be like? It's dangerous because of that.
Bad.
Yeah. And then you go back to Justin Fields. What is that going to do? What is that going to show to Justin Fields? You just ruined his confidence.
Yeah, this is a tricky game. And I agree. Like you're 4-2. Like you're basically like a game away from the lead of your division, and he's doing exactly what you want. He's managing the game. He should have beat Dallas, right? Like, I mean, his defense is the one that folded at the end. And I don't know. Like I said, Pittsburgh was going to be dangerous, and now they're playing the dangerous game. Like they're dangerous because all the physicality and the talent that they acquired, but now they're playing the dangerous game because now you're going to confuse the talent, especially if it stumbles. So it is a scary thing for Mike Tomlin and company. And like if the trade block is happening, and let's say you're still like, oh, man, I don't know, is Russell the guy? Should we actually start him? Like Justin's like doing well or whatever. Like if you're gonna play this game, I honestly think one of them should be traded.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, if we do this tipsy turvy thing and it flips flops and it buries us, it's gonna be bad on Tomlin and everybody else.
Watch this be the outcome that leads to Mike Tomlin's first losing season as the Steelers coach because of this
Right,
decision.
right.
That would be ironic.
They're just trying to avoid giving us a fourth round pick. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Do you know
Woo!
what he means by that?
Uh, well, if he plays more, then right, you get a higher pick.
He has to pay 51% of the snaps this season as a Steelers quarterback, and if he doesn't, then they have to give us a 6th round pick, and if he does, they have to give us a 4th round pick. So, yeah, he's almost there. I mean, we're week 7 now. If he would have played up to like week 10, we probably would have got that 4th round pick. So,
And see, that's 7, right? You said 3-game losing streak. That's 7, 8, 9. And then week 10, who cares? Like, because then at that point, he won't play 51% of the snaps. Like, oh man, that is wild.
yeah,
But yeah, it's man, there's so much news going on and so much craziness in the NFL. And like since we missed a few weeks, Danny, I want to point out they have to adapt, change this kicking rule already because since we've been off on our bye weeks, the Miami Dolphins pulled off a beautiful onside kick. Tennessee, they look sloppy and they didn't get the ball. They should have just called fair catch and caught it, obviously. But Miami pulls off an onside kick, and yet they're disqualified on the onside kick because it's out of the kicking zone of an onside kick of the new NFL league kicking rule. How asinine is that? Because an onside kick is supposed to be your aid to trick the opposing receiving team, and whether you bounce the ball or try to get it off of someone's shoulder pad or whatever, and then it goes high, it's beautiful. Tennessee doesn't catch it. A Miami Dolphin player catches it. It should be Miami ball.
I didn't know there was a landing zone in the onside kick. That makes no sense to me. Yes, we all know the rule about onside kicks having to go 10 yards, right? Unless it touches a player first.
And that's been since day one. So that was the case.
That makes sense. So for me, when you told me this, I was in shock because I didn't know that it pertained to onside kicks as well. And honestly, I wasn't watching that game. I was watching the Seahawks and the Lions game.
Right. It was a doubleheader. So like, whoever has watching what, because like my dad put a little small TV in the living room so we can watch both. So that's why I was able to see it. And I was pissed because I was like, oh, Miami caught it. So I was like, cool. They're going to, like, we'll make things more interesting again. And then the ref comes like, and he's fumbling the call because he's trying to figure out, this is a real rule. I know I studied it, but like this to me doesn't make sense either. And he's fumbling the call because he doesn't know how to pronounce it to the public. And I'm like, oh my God, this is stupid. But yeah, so Miami got screwed. They're already injured because of the quarterback and so much things are going on. And then they get plucked in the rear end because the stupid rule is like, well, you got to kick in the landing zone, an onside kick. No, asshole, like an onside kick is supposed to help me get the ball back.
I know you watched the Oregon and Ohio State game, but did you see their onside kick? That was like beautifully
oh my God
performed.
I mean,
hit the player like it was a line drive.
My high school kids try to do it. What was it? Hanks versus El Dorado, and no, Parkland and El Dorado, and Parkland's kicker squibs it. And like it literally just hit the gut of the El Dorado guy. He was just like, ugh, and just like fell to the ground. But yeah, like onside kicks are beautiful, especially if they work. And then yet you deny Miami. Like that is crap.
And as it is, I mean, for you to actually, get an onside kick is really slim.
It's hard,
right?
Yes, and difficult. It's a trick play technically. And
yeah.
Oh my God!
And so
sick to my stomach for Miami.
When you showed me that highlight about that onside kick in Miami, it was beautifully done. Like it was it done behind the actual people that were lined up to try to get
Right.
that
And it was
onside kick, right?
the only receivers were the only ones that are going to be able to get it. And then they just avoid the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No,
oh my God.
that was beautifully done, and I honestly don't think that there should be a landing zone for that.
Right. Like, because they're already in a close vicinity. That's why you changed the rule to begin with, NFL, you assholes. Because so they don't get hard hits. Well, an onside kick, you're close to the vicinity already. So it's not going to be as hard to begin with. But yeah, it was asinine. Is that Puka? What's going on?
It's not Puka.
Is that my best friend over there? Who is that?
No, it was Noelia.
My other best friend? Oh my goodness. So yeah, man. So I was super upset at the NFL with that because that's just asinine, to be honest.
That sucks. And then now, like, in case anybody needs to be reminded about the onside kicks, like in the NFL, you can't just do onside kicks whenever. You have to actually like notify the team when you're about to do it in the fourth
And you
quarter.
have to need it. And I'm like, the whole point of onside kick is to show that I'm going to be outsmart you as a head coach and then get a gain. But no, let's just let me. Oh man, ooh, I'm about to turn up right now. So let me get this straight. You guys can't do an onside kick, but let's go for it on fourth down on plenty of downs because the analytics, a stupid supercomputer tells me not to, or tells me to go for it, and then we lose a bunch of games because of it. We talked about it before we started. I was going to say like a few things that were brought up to my attention while we had our layoff of podcasts. The onside kick pissed me off. And then before we had our layoff, so many coaches, people are saying, man, the NFL is so competitive right now. It's so crazy. Would it be that way if that record stood, if people actually kicked the points and made other teams lose more? It would not. It would not.
We're talking about that Monday night matchup, right, between the Dolphins and the Titans. It was
right.
And then on the other side, going at the same time was the Lions and Seahawks. And I don't know if you saw that game, but we were just talking about it the week before, where they decide to go for 2-point conversions because of the analytics, and it turned out to bite them in the butt at the end of the game.
Seattle.
When it was going back and forth.
And it was in the before the layoff, it was the Chiefs and the Falcons. Remember, I was like, dude, the Falcons should have won that game, blah, blah, blah. And I was going ape shit. And then I was going to blow up on that specific podcast that Wednesday. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it. But like you said, Seattle, again, the very next week was over here fumbling and tumbling because they want to do that. A stupid computer that has never played a damn game, that doesn't have a real brain, that doesn't have physicality, energy to lose, stress, doesn't have like momentum in his head. Like, hey, man, we have the momentum right now. Let's just kick the field goal, get the defense back rolling because they've been stopping people. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It doesn't make any sense. You just put yourself in a disadvantaged position, right? You have to try to go for 2 later, or you then have to go for a field goal because you are down by so many damn
You know
points.
what's crazy is that how many times we've talked about, fans were talking about back then how Jason Garrett overthought the game at times, and then he iced his own kicker and he was just like, oh, he overthought the game. Now we have a ton of Jason Garretts. Like, this is exactly what it is. Like, you're overthinking the fucking game. Just kick the ball. Your defense has made several stops in the second half, and you're looking good. And if you kick another field goal, you win the game.
Yep.
Oh.
Unless you have a field goal that can't make field goals like the Jets.
Woo. Maybe even have.
All right, let's talk about Jerry, because I know you want to release some stress there.
Don't get me started. Okay, so this guy says, "Oh, we're gonna be quiet and in the trade before the trade deadline, and we're content that we're mediocre and we're sucking our own dicks because we're nothing. Our $60 million quarterback is not even our best scorer because that's our field goal kicker." This team is atrocious. And like I told you, Gabe, and a few people on Twitter that actually listen and want to listen to the truth instead of just like lollygagging. Like, people don't ever want to blame Dak. And then I don't know why they're afraid of Jerry Jones. Like, I have no idea why they're afraid to say the man's name on Twitter or on media. Like, well, the ESPN and all those people, they have to talk about it because that's their point. But everyone's like, oh man, what do we do? What's wrong? We already know what's wrong. The same general manager who's been general managing the team for the last 30 years is the problem. He's garbage. He's senile, deserves to be in Arkham Asylum, and he should not be around the vicinity at all. He didn't go after Derrick Henry, who just blew your shit up on your own home turf. The Detroit Lions came in and said, we're going to just kill you on your birthday. Like I text you and gave the best part of this ass kicking is it's on Jerry Jones' birthday. How humiliating for him. How beautiful. And more, yeah, there you go. Woo! Happy birthday, Jerry, because your own dumbass fault. Like, and then now we're not. We just let Amari Cooper go to Buffalo, which we could have got back. We could have possibly got a. We could do anything. We could get a Hassan Reddick probably right now, but are we? No. What can we do on defense? Oh yeah, that we can't. Our defensive line of depth is terrible. We can have Hassan Reddick, and then when we get a healthy Lawrence and Michael Parsons, put those three together. I think it'd be a pretty damn good tandem, or trio. But of course, Jerry's like, no, we're fine. We'd rather lose. It's fine. Whatever. And like it's like he needs Cowboys fans need to riot. The people that live in Dallas need to riot outside the stadium, riot outside the practice fields because our stupid quarterback has no grit. He has grit when it's a point away. Because of course he can score a field goal or get stuff down, but when the other team scores 30, it's over. Tony Romo, God, man, people used to hate on him and shit on him, but at least that mofo scored 35 points when he needed to because it's a shootout. Saints blow up the scoreboard. What's that? Hey, Aubrey, can you kick a field goal? We got a whole 4 quarters. It's cool. We're fine. Detroit's blowing our ass up at home again. Whereas, Aubrey, can you kick a field goal real quick? Yeah, we got 3 more quarters. We're fine. No, you dumbass. You got to score fucking points. Like, this is atrocious. This is like, I'm up to the point where until homeboy like changes, dies or something, like I'm on the brink of like just watching other games because I don't want to watch my blood pressure and my heart torn out over and over because we don't want to do what is right.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I've been in that situation before. Okay. It's frustrating.
Danny.
What's up, David?
Woo, David. What's up, man? Go Commanders. Danny.
Papa.
Woo! You don't even know. Who is the most what is the most prestigious Major League Baseball franchise, Danny?
The Yankees.
Okay. So what happens when they haven't been in the World Series the last few years? What do? They go and make moves every offseason. They're like, hey, man, we need to figure out why we're not there because we're the fucking New York Yankees. Let's go. And what happens right now, Danny? We're in the American League Championship Series. My boys are rolling. The Los Angeles Lakers, Danny, and the Boston Celtics. Those are the 2 most prestigious NBA franchises. Am I right? And when they're not in the championship, what do? Hey, motherfuckers, let's get shit together and let's fucking do something. And then we go and we get pieces to work. Oh, it's so frustrating. We have a $10 billion machine, and then our fucking owner is like this. Drool. Because he's so stupid, and he really doesn't care that we don't win. Because he's making money. He's got Formula 1 coming in 2026. That's just going to be another billion towards his fucking office. Like he has no care for Cowboys fans, and winning. I've said it for 20 years that he benefits more on us losing than he will with us winning because he gets to talk to the media.
Yeah, I don't know. In his mind, he just thinks that he's all hot, all high and mighty there in Dallas, right? Everything goes through him. And that radio interview, I don't know if you heard it in its entirety, but yeah, that just showed that he's so egotistical as an owner, as a GM, whatever if you want to call him that. But this guy, he wants to accountability with the coaches, the players, but when it comes to him and his lack of moves or his lack of getting, building a great team around what he has right now, he doesn't want to hear it. He'll threaten the radio host and try to fire them before he takes any accountability, which,
right.
I mean, we've seen this before. I think the last couple of years we didn't see this side of Jerry because he was winning. But I think it was like what 2021. Is that when you guys were doing okay? I can't remember what year, or maybe it was 2020, where you guys were kind of having a tough year. Same
Right.
thing happened, where he was going off on the radio host, and that makes no sense to me. Like you have to have some accountability, and I don't think the Dallas Cowboys fans are scared of Jerry Jones. I think everyone in Dallas, in the Dallas Cowboys organization, is scared of Jerry Jones, and that's why they don't do
And
shit.
why though? Why? He breathes, he bleeds. Like punch the guy in the jaw. I promise you, he's gonna listen. He like I, whew, he is
But I
so
think to your
lucky.
point, Cowboys fans need to step up and quit spending so much time and money and going to those
Yes,
games.
yes.
Riot, boycott.
Stop making him money just for him to like not care. He
Yep.
doesn't care.
Hit him where it hurts his pocketbook.
Right. And then he'll care.
Yep.
Ugh. Yeah. All week I've been like, man, these dudes don't deserve a bye week. Like they're over there probably partying it up and they're fucking millions that they half of them don't deserve because they don't show up when it matters. And then like we're probably gonna get train wrecked against San Francisco. So like I'm on the brink of extinction of watching a Cowboys game.
This is what David says. Nobody knows what you're talking about, like Washington fans.
Well, hey, but what happened, Danny? Why is Washington so good right now? Schneider, the Kreider,
Johnson
is out of the way. If Jerry Jones was out of the way, this team. Look at Miss Ford. Rest in peace, Mr. Ford, because you're an actually good dude. He didn't talk to the media, who didn't start shit, who wasn't a piece of shit like in Dallas. You owned the Detroit Lions, and granted, you didn't know how to ride that ship. What did Miss Ford do? She was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hire some personnel people, the GM. I'm gonna let them do what they need to do. They say to let Dan Campbell like have another year because they trust the process. And look where they're at. NFC Championship game last year. They're rolling again this year. The Washington Commanders, no Schneider, different ownership, new GM, new regime, new head coach, and they're fucking rolling.
Yep.
I get that the Raiders are the Raiders and they struggle because, Mark still does some dumb stuff, but he is not as senile as his father was. He moves into Las Vegas, gives them a bigger market, makes people want to go play for the Raiders again. You know what I mean? They're at least trying. And what does Jerry do? Nothing.
Yeah. He's his own worst enemy, and he fails to see it. Everyone else sees it except for him. It sucks. And David's right. Like Washington fans, Bears fans, we all know the struggle that you're going through. It feels like it's just a never-ending cycle of suck, right?
And what makes it worse is because, and this is not me crapping on the Commanders or me not crapping on the Bears. We're America's team. Like we're highlighted all the damn time. So then when we're like just not trying, it really shows, because everyone's watching us. Like there's people that love to see us like fall. So everyone else is like, oh, this is freaking awesome. And then of course, like our fan base and group that actually do care, like, oh my God, like this is what the Browns feel. This is what the Bears feel. This, you know what I mean? Like they feel it and they're like, what is this? Like, I don't understand. Like a lot of Cowboy fans are honestly confused. Like, cause they were always highlighted. And then now we have this talented team who's shitty because honestly, like I texted you and Gabe and a few other people, I've seen players quit on a coach because, things are just not happening. It's the ship's dividing. But I honestly think these players and the staff and even the coaching staff, I think they're quitting on Jerry at this point because they see his bigot and his lies and his crap. Enough's enough. And I honestly think they're quitting on the owner instead of anybody else.
And if he ain't careful, he's gonna lose the potential of signing, future free agents because they're gonna see all the.
Why are we gonna go?
Exactly. Why would they want to be a part of something like
the
that, an
circus.
organization like that? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry to bring that up. I know that you have been going through a lot of shit these last 2 weeks, and I know you wanted to talk about it, so I just wanted to bring it up.
I'm glad we talked about it because it's got to be out there. People got to.
you speak for a lot of Cowboys fans, and they probably feel the same way you do. But I wanted to talk to you about this next segment. It's a new segment that I wanted to try out. It's
Oh yeah, we
called
talked about it. Woo!
Studs
Studs
or
or
Duds.
duds? Woo-hoo-hoo! This is gonna be
So
fun.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna spin a wheel that includes all of the NFL teams, and we are going to see whichever team it lands on. You
Right.
have to explain, or I have to explain, if they're a stud or if they're a dud, right? And I think we're 7 weeks into the season. I think we should have a better idea now, or a good idea of whether these teams are pretenders or contenders, right? So let me share my screen and we'll get this party
This
started.
is fun. I can't wait for this. This is gonna be fun. So we get 4 spins each, or we're 4 spins
Yeah,
total?
we'll get 4 spins each.
All right, that sounds great. Woo! All right, Danny. Since it's your wheel, you go first.
All right.
You do the honors, sir.
Let's see who we get.
Oh my god. Yes! Yes! Perfect! Done that shit! Done that shit!
You and I and Gabe were texting last
This
week,
was
right?
so beautiful. Like, this was so meant to be.
Yeah. And we were talking about the Cowboys. You said, "Oh, hopefully, we'll do you guys a favor and beat the Lions for you guys." And what did I say to you?
Woo!
You guys barely beat the
The
Steelers
Steelers. And you're like, I hope
on
so.
Sunday. I said, "I hope you're right, but I don't think so." And from what I've seen, I mean, they have the same offense, right? Yes, now they're dealing with injuries. They lost Brandon Cooks, but they should still be productive. You're seeing the emergence of Jalen Tolbert, but it seems like what's their weakest link on their offense? Running back. They never solidified that position, and now it's hurting them. They're not going
Right.
to be able to become a balanced team because they're always playing from behind and they're always having to pass a lot. So it's just putting them in a very tough position. I honestly think that they have a tough schedule as it is, and it ain't gonna get easier with these injuries. And then now with all the drama going on in Dallas, I don't see them making the playoffs. Unfortunately, perhaps they will start to win some games, but I think it's gonna be too late. And then you know how the NFC right now it's looking pretty strong.
The NFC, your division, right, David? It was like perfect karma. Your division has 4 winning percentage teams. Like that, it hasn't happened since 2002. So, like
Yeah.
to your point, like Dallas has to win the division or there's nothing. And obviously, we're both in agreement. Dud. And I'll give you 2 reasons. It's 4 words: Jerry Jones, and then one person that he didn't go get that could help right now, who's the number 1 running back in the league, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the one he let get away. Even Aaron Jones would have been great right now, but Aaron
Any
Jones
any
is
any veteran running back that was capable of his knees and his shoulders, like Zeke's worn out. We worn his ass out a long time ago.
Zeke looks bad. Like I didn't expect this type of performance from him. I thought it would rejuvenate him, being back with the team that drafted him, but he looks like his career is pretty much at the back end or completely done now. Which is crazy. But let's give that a spin. What do you want? Let's see who you get.
So dud, Danny, right? Cowboys are duds.
Yep, Cowboys are duds.
Sheesh. That was so perfect. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna go! It's gonna go!" Oh,
That's a good one, Bengals.
woo! All right, woo! So the Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase, stud. Burrow, when he's kind of consistent and healthy, stud. This year as a team, dud. I told you before the season who would be my number 4th in that division. They're what, 1-4, 1-5, 2-4. I don't know. They're not good. They still have to play the Steelers and the Ravens. Browns, it's a division game. It's not going to be easy. And they just lost to the Ravens last week.
Hmm.
So, yeah, like I think they're going to make a better push in the conference as a whole than I think Dallas is, because they're at least their owner, GM, their team is not like a train wreck that's just falling off a cliff. Like they're just a train that's on rails that are barely hanging on a thread. And they're a dud because they're not going to make it out of the division, and then the AFC is not going to let them in the playoffs. I think next year, and going back to your Cowboy thing, like you're like maybe they'll push later on or whatever. I at this point, I rather just get a better draft pick because we're gonna have a new coaching regime next year. Like, there's no way in hell Mike McCarthy stays. Like, if he stays, I mean, then Jerry has really lost 100% of his brain functionality. But I'd rather just tank at this point. And with the Bengals, why not for them too? They got rid of their running back, which their running back was good for them. Who knows why they let him go? They got rid of Awuzie, which I get that he's sometimes inconsistent. Dallas drafted him, so I know him very clearly. He's with I think the Titans now, but they got rid of pieces, Danny, that helped them go into the Super Bowl. And I'm like, remember, I'm not a fan ever of blowing a team up when it's helped you have success. Like, you just add to the pieces and you try to keep the pieces that helped you. Like, T. Higgins is gone next year, and he honestly might even be gone before the trade deadline. Before Jerry Jones, said what he said out of his ass of not being heavy in the trade market, there was people saying that, man, imagine CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins together. Like, that would be amazing. I'm like, hell yeah, that would. Woo! Put that together with Cooks when he's back healthy in Tober. I'm so down. And then Turpin. But, of course, Jerry's like, nah, we're done. So, I think the Bengals are a dud this year. But if they get more of that foundation next year, and then we'll see how that win spins next year. But they're a dud for sure.
I agree with you. I think they're a dud this year. I expected a lot of better things, right? I thought
you had them at third, I think, in the division.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be very competitive within the division.
Right.
But Burrow, he's kind of doing the best that he can, and it seems like the whole issue with T. Higgins at the beginning of the year, the contract dispute with Chase, like these are all things that are not playing any benefit right now, right? I think everybody's minds are elsewhere other than the football field.
Right.
And I just think, you have a lot going on internally, and then you have a hard schedule. Like, they haven't had an easy schedule, but they've been in games and they can't close them out. They can't.
Right.
Like, they should have really blown out the Giants this past weekend, and they made it close, and it shouldn't have been that close. And so that's why I don't have total faith and trust in them, and I think they're going to lose a lot of games this year. And to your point, like if they were to get a high draft selection, the only bad thing is, like, who's gonna be there next year? Is T. Higgins gonna be there? Is Chase still gonna be there? Is he gonna be happy to be there? Like, there's just a lot of things that can,
a lot of
spiral
questions.
this franchise out of control. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, you hit something right on the nail on the button. But I was gonna bring up something, but now I lost it. But yeah, I think the Bengals. Yeah, you're saying that their heads a lot of their heads don't seem like it's all on football, which is pretty much like Dallas too. But I think Burrow too much into Hollywood and fashion right now is taking him a step back performance wise. We've seen it happen playing time. Like, dude, if you win a Super Bowl and you be like Mahomes and you want to go do stupid stuff with Kelsey, him and Chase, at least win one and then go into all that, because then right now it's just you're showing that you're above the team, and I don't. It's not my thing, So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so I agree with you. It's not all about football, apparently, to them.
Well, being so close to a championship, even, right? They were close in that Super Bowl against the Rams.
Right.
And
We're
then
one
they
play.
made the AFC Championship again. And there's like
Right.
after those defeats, like you would think a quarterback of his stature would want to be
More
more
focused.
more focused, more hungry. And
Right.
to your point, he's more focused on other things off the field.
Yeah, like his fashion and doing his hair, like getting weird likes on that. I'm like, dude, like at least Josh Allen's like he's dating Haley Steinfeld, but he don't bring her up. He doesn't like flash her. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he's focused on the game, and I love that. Like I'm like, hell yeah, dude, you're dating one of the hottest, most talented individuals in the world, and then you're just like, nah, man, I want to win a chip, and then we'll go do flashy shit. Like that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think that's to your point. Look at Travis Kelsey, right? It's kind of like his year was kind of down and then now it's picking back up, but there's been a lot of distraction there too about Taylor
Right.
Swift.
And he's doing shows and everything. Like, yeah, he's going to retire sooner than later, I think. Even if he's like completely healthy still, just because like if he stays with her, if they stay together, he's going to have an endless world of possibilities. So I'm like,
Yep.
he may be like, you know what, like, why do I want to keep getting hit when I can just go be in a TV show, which he already is in? So, all right, Danny, your next one. Let's go.
What are we gonna get? Cowboys again?
Shoot.
No way.
Almost.
Oh, I got the Eagles. Man, this spin wheel knows me. These are all the teams that I've been questioning this year. And, you and I mean, maybe not you. I was really high on the Eagles coming into the season because of Barkley. I thought Barkley was going to elevate this offense in a way that we haven't seen, and it hasn't happened. Like, yes, we saw it for 1 week against the Packers, but after that, it's been up and down, up and down.
Right.
And honestly, you can't win in the NFL like that. Apologies for my crying baby in the background, but yeah. So with the Eagles, man, their defense is also not very good this year, even though they've drafted really well and
Right.
really good caliber cornerbacks, and it still seems like they're being diced by offenses. Even the Browns, like, oh my god, I didn't expect that game to be so close, but it's tough, man. Like right now, if you ask me, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but if you ask me who's the best team in the NFC East, I'm gonna say the Commanders. The Commanders just look like the most complete team in that division, and
I
I would
agree.
have never thought that, right? You and I both thought that the Commanders were gonna kind of be that eventually, but to be that early on, I think that just shows the coaching they have around them.
The culture.
That too. That too. And the Eagles, I mean, I don't know if you saw this freaking nut job of their head coach.
Dude, he's gonna lose the fanfare if he and then the team if he keeps doing that, because you're mocking them and they're the ones that pay your tickets, pay for everything, and then what happens when you stumble again?
David agrees. David agrees.
No, I agree.
Yeah, no, this guy's a clown.
Yeah, Sirianni is
Yes, Nick Sirianni needs to go. I mean, he's one of those guys that he has a punchable face just by looking at him on the sideline. And he mocks people, and then once he loses,
Yeah,
he's a fucking poor sport. Like,
right.
come on.
He's like,
That's Richard Sherman. That's not Nick Sirianni.
either one. Dumb faces. But
But that was pretty quick. Yeah, I say the Eagles are duds.
I as much as I hate them and I want to shred them, I think they're a dud because of Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts waits so long for the big play. Like he expects to have a big play every time, and you don't win that way in the NFL. You're gonna get sacked. You're gonna fumble. You're gonna get interceptions, whatever. Like he turns the ball over too much, and I think that's why it's hurting Barkley, because they're always behind and they have to go into a passing scenario. Like you said, dog, he brought his kids to the press conference so they wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. What a coward. Yeah, he brought his kids to act like nothing happened. But yeah, so it hurts. I love it as a Cowboys fan, but as an overall NFL fan, like he frustrates the hell out of me. Like I'm like, dude, what are you like? I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like I'm getting mad. I'm not even an Eagles fan, and I'm like, he's an Achilles heel. And, like I saw a meme like first and long, second and long, and then like third and one. 4th and 1. You know what I mean? He's all happy because he can do push. But I'm like, after that, he sucks. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's not cool. Like, dude, be more consistent. Like the Browns barely lost to them, and that's with Deshaun Watson, who's a train wreck of his own. And you like it's. I don't think they're going to be better than the Cowboys, to be honest. Like at the end of it all, like I think it's going to be Dallas and Washington. Even though I hate Dallas right now, and I hope they tank, I just don't trust. I as much as I get pissed off at Dak, I trust number 4 more than I trust number 1.
Yeah, I do too, honestly.
Ugh.
Yeah, but the Eagles is just so frustrating to watch. Like I tried
Right.
watching some of
And you
that
get
game,
new
and
coaching staffs. Like you try to do so much, and you're still like. And then he's one of those people, Alex
Alex
Smith.
Smith.
Is this like real Alex Smith or like man? That'd be so dope. But I'm like, you know who this is, Daddy? I don't know, but this is cool. Thanks for chiming in, man. But yeah, like I just Sirianni is untrustworthy. He's one of those coaches like we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. I'm like, dude, you're down 12. Kick some field goals, then go for it so you could probably tie it or win it later. But like he's like, no, we're down. Let's just keep going. And then you get like, I don't know. Alex Smith, what's up, man? Thanks for chiming in. But yeah, Eagles are duds, Cowboys are duds, Bengals are duds. Let's see what's next. We've had 3 straight duds. Can we get a stud? Can we get a stud?
Nope.
No. All right, so Patriots fans, TB12 is never coming back. The straight face is never coming back. Drake May is going to be a stud very soon. I think within a year and a half, that team is going to elevate the Patriots on the right path. They're on the right path to do great things for the future. Gerard Mayo is going to have that team in contention within, I say, about a year. But a dud of, unfortunately, this year for sure. Drake May going forward, Gerard Mayo going for like this team's going to elevate. They don't have Jerry Jones as owner. They have Robert Kraft. So they're going to be fine in the future. Duds right now because they're a youthful team. They got a youthful coach. They're in rebuild mode, which I liked because they got rid of old timey Belichick, which is an amazing coach. But sometimes you just gotta get fresh. And then you get a new quarterback because Mac Jones, I mean, he's a backup in Jacksonville, ladies and gentlemen, and that quarterback's not even doing good. So that tells you how great Mac Jones is. So yeah, Patriots are duds. I mean, we don't really got to get into depth into this one.
I won't spend too much time here. Just I agree with you there. I think it's exciting to see Drake May though. He looked pretty good coming in.
Right. He's a stud for the future.
Yeah, definitely. He started off a little rocky, but he didn't seem like the NFL was too big for him, right? Even after throwing 2 interceptions, like he still kept them in the game, was still productive. And that has to be exciting for Patriots fans. I think that's going to be their potential quarterback for the future. And I liked him coming out of the draft. I thought he was pretty. What I liked about him was just the way that when the pocket collapses, he still tries to throw that ball. Like he doesn't get freaked out. And when you had the likes of, like, let's say a Sam Darnold when he was with the Jets, right? Or Zach Wilson when he was with the Jets. Like both of those guys, when the pocket collapsed on them, they saw ghosts, right? And so I think as a rebuilding team goes, like you want a quarterback like that you can depend on, that won't get freaked out, that will build and elevate his game eventually. And I mean, they're a young team. They don't have playmakers around them, so he's doing the best with what he got.
Yep. All right, let's see, Denny. Can Danny get a stud for once? Because we're 0 for 4.
I was trying to randomize these names, but they're all duds. All duds. Do we have to spend so much time on this? I think we all know, right? The Panthers are duds. Like these guys are 1-5, probably going to be 1-6 after this next week. And oh man, their owner's a mess. You're talking about Jerry Jones being a mess.
Hey,
this
1-2. 1-2. I was about to tell you, like they're 1-2.
Definitely, yeah, they take the cake for sure, and I think it's gonna be a matter of time before this guy does something stupid where he tries to throw a drink at a fan or even probably gets into a physical altercation with one, and he has to sell the team, right? So
And it's crazy too.
it's
He
gonna.
just bought the team. So imagine like having to like having to sell a team that you just bought. Like what?
I mean, I guess from the overall team, like they're not going to be very strong this year. We all know it. I think them kind of playing musical chairs at the quarterback position, it's going to hurt them.
That's a telltale
Um,
sign.
yeah, Bryce Young is probably going to go elsewhere. Andy Dalton's just a band-aid for now, and then they're going to be in a cycle of suck because of this fucking owner. So I don't know. I think
I feel bad
I
for
don't.
Panthers fans for it. Like I feel for them.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they've
Ugh.
gave up so much to get Bryce Young, and for him to already be a bust because your organization failed him kind of
And to
sucks.
think, Danny, Frank Wright and his offensive staff wanted CJ Stroud. Think about that. And
I
Tepin
know.
was like, nah, I know Jerry Jones. He does good. He calls me and tells me what I can do. And then he's just like, yo, Jerry, you do your own picks, right? Jerry's like, but of course. And then he's just like, all right, cool, I got this. Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. And how'd that work out?
Do I need a general manager? You're good.
No, you
You
are
make
the
good
general
calls.
manager. You are the general manager. Uh Man, this is
Yeah, I would.
crazy.
All right, let's spin. We don't have
Yeah,
to spend too
we
much time
need
on
a
the
stud.
Panthers.
We need a stud. We need a stud. Oh no! Yes,
Oh.
yes, yes! No! Ah, they're so close. Buffalo. Uh,
I'm gonna
Five
change this
straight
segment to all
duds.
duds.
Yeah, like, we're just gonna be duds or dudder. Okay. So the Miami Dolphins, unfortunately, they are a dud. Their head coaching staff right now has no clue what to do without Tua. Like I mean, he looks dumbfounded and dumb on the sideline. He doesn't even have smart remarks or answers to the media or the reporters. Um, I think he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose a lot of credit this year. I get that Tua's injured, but the fact that he is just so lost, it might go back to the whole Dennis Allen. Like he's a better defensive coordinator to me than head coach. Maybe that's the same thing with Mike McDaniel, right? That's his name. Maybe he's the same. Maybe he's better as an offensive coordinator where he doesn't have to do the whole media thing and doesn't have to, try to figure out what's what after your quarterback goes down. But yeah, the Dolphins are a surprise dud because we had them with higher expectations, right? Because of healthy Tua and so many, but and then Tua, man, like you're a stud, but in 10 years you could be a dud in real life. You know what I mean? Like you don't want that. Like think about your health, man. Like legit think about your health. And your family too. Like, cause I mean, how are you gonna be there for your kids when you can't even be there for yourself? So please, be aware and think of your family of that perspective. But yeah, Danny, I mean, we might as well try for a stud again.
And honestly, like if just real quick on the last thing about the Dolphins, but if let's say the Dolphins are 2-5, 2-6 by the time he comes back, like is
Don't
it
start
really?
him.
I mean, is it really? I mean, he already said he wants to come back. Like, is it really worth it at that point? Like, do you
Nope.
really want to put your body on the line for possibly winning a few more games? You're not gonna
Nope.
make the playoffs at 2-6,
Right.
right? So he has to think about that.
And if coaching staff decide to put him in because he wants to come in as 2-6, 2-7, whatever it was, or whatever it is, then you'll definitely lose credit because you're like, dude, you're not going to make the playoffs. And then what if he gets hurt again and you're not even
Yeah,
going to make the playoffs? Like, that's not good.
yeah,
All right, Danny,
definitely.
we need a stud. We need a stud.
Let's get a stud.
For once.
Uh, I like it. Finally.
Yes, we got a stud. Let's go. Yeah, winner. We got a winner.
So let me tell you about the Vikings.
Yes.
The Vikings are
Right.
dead. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
Imagine. Vikings are dud. No, I've told you this. I think the last couple of weeks when we talked about the Vikings. Like, yes, I started off the year not believing in them, thinking that it was a fluke that they won 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row. But the manner in which they've won these games
Right.
is impressive. Your
Right.
defense is awesome, flying around the whole
Van
field.
and Van Ginkel. He's got a Viking
Van
name
Gink, yeah,
already. Van Ginkel's got
that
a
dude is like
name.
the MVP of the offseason. That has to be like
Right.
the biggest addition.
Oh man.
Making plays left and right every week, like you have to love that. And they're probably paying him a fraction of what a TJ Watt would get.
Right.
Um, but yeah, no, the Vikings just seem to get better. They're gonna get TJ Hawkinson back. They got Cam Akers. We talked about that earlier in the show. And I think even with Aaron Jones being sidelined for a couple weeks, just with Cam Akers, you'll be in solid shape. The only question mark about the Vikings is the consistency of Sam Darnold. Is this Sam
Right.
Darnold going to be the Sam Darnold throughout the whole year? Yes, every quarterback has bad games throughout the year, but is this Sam Darnold going to have, be like that where he has one game bad here, or he has one bad game there? Or is it going to be like where he strings along all these good games and then all of a sudden towards the back end of the season where you're trying to get into the playoffs, he takes a shit? Like, I honestly don't think that's gonna happen. But I think just the way that they've been playing, like it's a complete team. They have a true test this coming week against the Lions, and so I
Ooh,
think it's gonna
great
be a
game.
a telltale sign of who they really are within this division and this conference.
What's good is that they already beat the Packers, which is awesome, right? Because we all want the
Yep,
Packers to be fourth. That's
and they beat
crazy.
them. They beat them pretty good
Right.
until they
They
let
beat
them
them
come back.
down. Yeah, like the whole like garbage, time or whatever, like they, they're not the Packers are not gonna stay down forever. But I think you already won your division. You're the only undefeated team so far in the NFC. And like just imagine if they beat the Lions. Can you imagine the hype and the energy all in Minnesota in that facility is going to be like, yo, if we can do this to the Packers, to the Niners, and then now to the Lions, like we can beat down anybody. So like
Yep.
that's going to be without AJ. So imagine when AJ comes back. So man, that's going to be a great game. And like
I would.
how sometimes teams score a lot on another team and they're having fun, they're like putting all those points and they're just like throwing out all that energy. What if Detroit like lost a little fizzle on their scoring because they wanted to bully Dallas? So that could be a factor because that's what happened with them playing the Buccaneers. Remember, I said that they would lose to the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers onslaught scored on someone, and then I told you they would lose to Denver. That's what happened. So there's a possibility that Lions might not score as many points, and then they might have to because Minnesota's going to score.
That's a good point. I don't believe that's the case in football. I do believe that's the case in baseball. I think like you can get to a point where you're producing so many runs that by the next
It
game
just
you're
wears down. But I mean, no
yeah.
Hutchinson now. That poor guy, that leg was so
I,
terrible. Like I felt for
oh,
him.
I know.
Oh my god.
I was just about to
Uh,
bring that up. And I think the Lions so far, I mean, on offense, they're amazing. Like they're one of the best offenses in the league for sure. But on defense, like not having that pass rusher, you know, Hutchinson was in the backfield a lot, and he's been like that every single game. And not how is that going to make the rest of their defense look? Because already their secondary is questionable, right? They get so many different, so many damn penalties. Even Terrion Arnold is getting a penalty like every other play. So now without a pass rush, like that's dangerous. Like you're gonna have to be outscoring teams.
lightning striking my head, Danny. The stupid owner in Dallas already said that they're not going to be, active in the trade market. What if Hassan Reddick goes to Detroit?
Yeah, I've seen that. That would be good. But apparently Dan Campbell said he's not looking to make any big splashes. So I think maybe after a game of losing to the Vikings, maybe that might change
Maybe.
his
Right.
logic, right?
Yeah, because in 2 weeks, like after this week is the trade deadline because it'd be week 8, right?
Yep.
So yeah, man. So we finally got a stud. Yeah, I love the way the Minnesota Vikings are playing their formula. What is good too is it's consistent ball, right? So like
Yeah.
AJ, if like things got a little tight on the passing, AJ's like, I'll bail you out. If the running game is not as equivalent, like Justin Jefferson and Darnold were like, we'll bail you out. Like they've played complementary football on both sides of the ball that are just winning formula. That'd be honestly, if they made the Super Bowl, I'd be happy because it'd be something that no one expected,
Something
right? So,
fresh.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Kansas City, and then if you have a Minnesota there and Buffalo, like that would be great because it'd be like someone's first Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like it'd be worthwhile.
Yeah, my boss is a Vikings fan, and he's a lifelong Vikings fan.
Yeah, so he's
But
been there with all the pain and heartbreak. So yeah, he
well,
deserves this.
we talk football about every Monday, and his logic is like he's scared of what's to come because year after year, when they've had solid teams, they always lose in the playoffs.
They're like
So he has
Dallas.
a heartbreak. Yeah,
Yeah, like we'll have
So-
they'll have the Minneapolis Miracle, and then boom, right after they'll get steamrolled by somebody. So it sucks.
yeah.
All
All right, let's
all
see.
right.
You're gonna get a stud here. I know it. I know it. It's gonna be the Jags.
Houston Texans. Somebody.
No way. You got the.
Woo! Perfect. Here we go.
Stud.
Dak Prescott dud when it matters most. Jerry Jones dud his whole freaking life. He's rich because he has oil. Like he cannot do crap. That was great. That's perfect. Here we go.
Ooh, 49ers probably.
Woo!
You'd love the
Okay.
49ers.
Love to talk crap. Okay, so they have studs and they're a stud organization. But like I said this year, injuries and losing a Super Bowl again to the exact same team you lost the last time makes you a dud this year, Danny. Because Seattle's still playing well. I mean, the Cardinals are, they're the weirdest team. Like they're hot and then they're super cold. Like it's just weird. And then of course the Rams are super injured. But I mean the NFC, you got the NFC North, who every team has a winning percentage. That's not going to get you in the playoffs if you're number 2 in your division. You have the Cowboys, obviously the NFC East. One's going to win that division. The NFC South have the Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. So you really have like this stretch when they go play Dallas. I don't know who they play this week, but we'll do that when we do our picks. But when they play next week against Dallas, and Dallas, let's just say some type of miracle, like the heavens, the football heavens say, Dak Prescott, you're finally gonna play them good because of all these injuries and stuff. Oh, and we upset them. Their trend is gonna just fall incredibly because then the Niner faithful, George Kittle and his fuck Dallas thing, like all that morale is just gonna crash. And they're a dud this year. Like there's no way that they get back to the Super Bowl. There's no way that they may not even win their division when it's all said and done. Injuries, like McCaffrey is traveling the freaking world to try to figure out if he's even going to be able to like walk normal or whatever's going on. You know what I mean? Like there's so much going on with this Niners team, but it's weird. They've kept it close to the chest, which is smart. They're not like Dallas where it's like, well, we're blowing shit up and we suck. Like they know they're sucking. They're just not talking about it. And they won this past week, but I forgot who they beat. It's probably the Cardinals, right? Or someone that they should win.
No, the Cardinals got blown out by the Packers.
Yeah.
They beat the Seahawks in Thursday night football.
No, that
Remember?
was that game.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, Seattle. Oh my God, Seattle.
Yeah.
I forgot. I forgot that they basically had like 10 days off. Okay. So we'll figure out when we do our picks right now, but I just don't think that they overcome all the things that they overcome this year. So they're going to be a dud when it's all said and done.
I still haven't figured out them, like who they are as a team. Like they have a great performance and then they lose to a team they should have beat. Or they lose to the Cardinals at the last.
Right.
Couple.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Oh my God, that was beautiful.
Like those are the types of losses. Like when you have no McCaffrey in the backfield, when you have Jordan Mason being hurt, like those are the games you need to have. And at that point, I think Seahawks were still undefeated. And if you would have asked me like 2 weeks ago, are they duds? I would have said they were duds because Seahawks just started off the year really strong. And I think the last couple of weeks, the Seahawks have lost really close games. And they should probably still be undefeated if I'm being quite honest. Like they should have beat the Giants and they should have beat the Niners last week. but it's just, these types of things where you have the ability. I'm talking about the Seahawks. You have the ability to put these 49ers, these, division leaders for the last couple of years away, and you couldn't do it. And I think that them winning last week's game against the Seahawks is going to allow them to stay probably the leader in that division. The only thing is, I don't see them as a Super Bowl contender because I just don't think that they have the same firepower, the same drive as they did the last couple years. And plus, you're dealing with the whole up and down issue with McCaffrey. Like, is he going to be able to, be as effective as he was before? Is he going to still
Right.
be able to still maintain that type of, you know, hardship on his body week over week like he has in the past? Because he took a lot of beating since joining the Niners. And I think that's going to wear in your body like it's shown now, right? So I'm still going to say they're studs because they're going to win that division, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders.
Well, maybe they're HUDs heading under division success.
HUDs.
HUDs.
We'll go with it.
Yeah.
Trademark it.
Woo! HUDs heading under division success. So, man, I like that. That was pretty fun.
Yeah,
We gotta do that again. Hopefully, we get more studs next time. We basically had
Two.
like one major stud, like
Oh,
one
one.
legit
Yeah.
stud. That's funny.
We'll have to randomize it a little bit better next time.
It's all
See,
good.
maybe we'll have better success there, but
All right, Danny, the fun part. Hey, what's our record like? What's happening?
I don't have my notebook in front of me, but we were three away from each other. I might have my notebook. Hold on. Like, I was 3 ahead of you.
Overall?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I need to stop picking Dallas.
So yeah, no, I'll bring that up in next week's episode. I'll put up our records now counting
All
this
right.
week
All right.
to show where we're at. But it's been a hard year, man. There's been a lot of upsets, as you can see every week, right? There's somebody who should have not lost, wins against a good opponent, which is really weird. That seems to be the common theme this year.
Just like walking around
with her tablet on high.
Yeah. Woohoo. She probably knows more about football than Jerry Jones does right now.
All right, so
here we go
for week 7.
Denver Broncos,
football
New
season.
Orleans Saints. Danny, you go first.
All right, I am with the Denver Broncos. Their defense has looked really good these last couple of weeks. Bo Nix is looking to have figured it out. This game seems to be slowing down. On the opposite end, you have Spencer Rattler, who's barely starting his career as an NFL quarterback. He looked a little shaky at times last week, but he ended up doing pretty well. I mean, for just being thrown out there, I think he did solid.
He scored some points.
But I think he's going to go up against a really good defense in Denver. And I just think even them being at home, I don't think it's going to prove any benefit to them. I think Broncos will win this one. And the Broncos are actually having a sneaky season. They're doing pretty well.
I told you. Man, Bo Nix, my boy. Yeah, we're going Denver Broncos also. We're equal on that one. We're in agreement. I believe that Denver's defense is just going to be too strong, especially if you don't have Shaheed. You don't have Olave. And if Taysom Hill's not back, like who you going to give the ball to besides Kamara? Like literally, they're just going to stack the front and just make them try to throw the ball. Like that's what's going to happen. So, I picked Denver also. Not really much to say on that one because I think just the Saints injuries and stuff.
Another game across the pond. Who do you have here?
New England and Jacksonville. Man, this one's tough.
Does Doug Peterson get fired this week?
He may, man. But you know what? Remember I told you about the traveling thing? Like, it's never really a home game. I bet you more fans know about New England and London because of Tom Brady and stuff. So there are probably more Patriots fans out there than there are Jacksonville fans. I say Drake May gets his first victory as an NFL quarterback, and the New England Patriots beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I like it. I can see that happening. Pats.
So we're in agreement?
I think so. I think Jacksonville, I mean,
They're a
I don't know,
mess.
man.
Well, I don't know how they're
Yeah,
such a mess. Like we had them in number 2 in the division, and they're like the worst. Like
their defense looks bad. I mean, their offense is supposed to be. I mean, they've been up and down this year. Um, but I just think that there's just a lot of turmoil inside the facility. I don't know. I don't think Doug Peterson's the guy there. I think his players, stopped playing for him, and
damn.
I think that New England, with Drake May, that the way he played last week, I think he's going to go into it with much more confidence. And Jacksonville's defense can't stop nobody, so I do see Drake May having some success there, and so I got to go with the Pats just for that reason.
All right, so Gabe just sent his list to us, so we'll check it out right now. But I what are we talking about? We're talking about oh yeah, we already picked.
Atlanta, Seattle.
So
Yeah.
now we're going to Atlanta, Seattle. Well, we already know who I like in the quarterback department on that one, so I think I'm going to stick to the home team. And you like that continues, and the Atlanta Falcons, like they're going to start showing because they had a great few wins right recently, and I think now if they beat a Seattle physical team, like they're going to start showing like who they really are, and more people are going to start believing in them. So I'm going to go the Atlanta Falcons.
The Falcons, I like it. I gotta go the other way though. I think the
Woo!
Seahawks. I've been impressed with the Seahawks this year. They have played some. They should have won some. Like I mentioned earlier, they should have won the Giants game. They should have won last week as well against 49ers, but they just make stupid mistakes throughout the game. Like they don't kick a field goal. They try to go for two, or they fumble. Like they just do a lot of things that at the wrong time. I don't know if you saw that whole DK one. When I don't know if it was last week or the week before when they played on. It might have been last week when they were playing the 49ers. He had a touchdown. But because somebody in the line moved early, or I don't know the exact, I can't remember what the exact penalty was. They had to bring that big play back, right? I think
Right.
that would have been the deciding touchdown there for that game.
Right.
So if they can clean those things up, I think Seattle can compete with anybody. And Atlanta has looked good on offense, but they just, I don't know, the teams that they should be beating up, it seems like they keep those teams really close. And I think this is going to be a close game. And Seattle has lost a couple of games back to back, so I think they should bounce back because of that. They'll probably play with more urgency, make less mistakes. So I got to go with the Seahawks here.
All right, so our first divide. All right, the Tennessee Titans at Buffalo. Danny, who do you have? This is going to be a shocker.
I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. Nah, just kidding. No, Buffalo Bills, man. Buffalo Bills all the way. I think Amari Cooper is going to be so. I'm excited to watch how he does with the Bills. You mentioned the Rap and I forgot the other player you mentioned coming back. Teron Johnson. Like they made a difference on that defense. You
hands
can tell.
down.
And they're only going to get better from here. I mean, they don't have Von Miller. Their pass rush, their line's a little bit banged up too. But when all those guys come back, their defense is going to be flying around the football like they have been the last couple of years. And their offense is only going to get better. I think Buffalo, with having Amari Cooper, using more of the tight ends, I think they're going to be solid. I think they should be able to beat Tennessee by a couple touchdowns.
So it's going to be an intense beatdown train wreck. So, and I think it'll start slow at first just because like Tennessee's going to try. And then once Pollard's not going to be able to run the ball because they're going to be down so many points, it's just going to fall and fall and fall. Buffalo, it's not even like we don't even have to spend much time. It's Buffalo all the way.
And the Titans have no identity, on offense. Like it's kind of like they just do whatever works.
They're like Teen Titans.
Doesn't work. Exactly.
We have Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Who you got, Danny?
I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think the Bengals continue their winning streak here. Cleveland, I just don't trust them to compete in a shootout with anybody. They kick field goals. That's about it. Yeah. And Cincy, I mean, they do get Nick Chubb back this week though, so who knows? Maybe they run the football a lot, but still, I mean, Cincinnati should be able to pass the ball on their defense. And
then the Browns had the Eagles on a hook. Man, they let them go.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I just can't trust Deshaun Watson. Like it's simple as that. Like I'm picking the Bengals like you, and that's that. Like I think the Bengals will beat them down.
This next matchup is gonna be really good.
This
I'm
is a
actually looking forward to
juggernaut.
this one.
Yeah, this one's a juggernaut versus juggernaut. This can be really good.
Jordan Love hasn't looked that good these last couple weeks.
He
Like
looked
he's
good this week, but he beat down on the Cardinals. So like the weeks before that, he's thrown a few picks. So I'm gonna go with my Houston Texans. I'm gonna stick with Texas here, and I think they go into Lambeau and shock the Packers and leave with the victory.
Is it close or is it a blowout?
Uh, it's kind of close. I say Houston by like 9, but it's more competitive than the score shows.
Have you seen the Packers white jerseys?
Yeah, they
They
look
look
pretty
like the
fresh.
Jets.
Well, I
It's
mean,
crazy,
can't beat them, join them, right, Aaron Rodgers?
right? I guess so. They just must love
They look like him,
gold.
right? I mean,
They do. I wanted to bring up a picture, but let me show you. I think the only thing that doesn't look like the Jets is, of course, their jersey because it's yellow. But if you look at their helmet looks pretty jet-like. Don't you
that's
think?
crazy. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know, man.
They
Hopefully they
should have
lose.
gone with the yellow stripe. I think that would have matched their jerseys. It just would have been better.
Right.
All right. Sorry about that. Just when I saw it, I was like, what the hell? It looks like the Jets. But yeah, to your point, I can't pick the Packers just because I don't know, man. Like
They're your
I'm
division.
well, no, I mean they've looked good at times this year. Like they've last week they blew out the Cardinals like they should have. But
Right.
like games like who were they playing the week before? I can't recall.
He threw a
But
pick from the end zone. Like he's like tumbling and
yeah,
throw.
that
Yeah.
I mean when you make mistakes like that, and Texans have a really good defense. Like if you try to do that against them, you're gonna lose.
Well, and plus they have
Um,
an offense that can score. So if you give them free points, like yeah, they're gonna take it all day.
yeah. I mean this is a tough game for me because it could go either way,
It's
honestly.
right because it's at
Be-
Lambeau. That's the only reason why I think Green Bay has a chance. If it was in Houston, I'd give them no chance.
It's at Lambeau. Houston always starts pretty good. Like they're up by 2 touchdowns, but then they let teams hang around. And for
Right.
that reason, that's why I'm kind of having a hard time. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Texans here. Just I trust more in their team than I do the Packers right now. So I'll go with the Texans. I'm like you. All right, who did Gabe go with these last couple of weeks? So let's see. Gabe chose Denver, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincy, Houston, Indy, Detroit, and the Giants. All right.
All right. So Miami at the Colts. I am picking the Gringo Flacco, Joe Flacco, to beat whoever's quarterbacking for the Miami Dolphins. And that's the only reason. Like if Tua's there, probably way different. But I just think the home team with Flacco, veteran versus whoever else is there against Miami, I just don't think it's gonna match. So I think the Colts get the victory.
I don't think Flacco's playing this game, but
Oh
even if
my
Flacco
god.
wasn't playing, I still would pick Indy over Miami just
Well,
because.
man, I don't know. Ditch Rich might happen then.
Well, if you want to change your pick, you can. But Miami like has no identity. I think without Tua, they look lost on. They don't run the ball well. Tyreek gets some passes here and there, but I mean, you can't depend on the quarterback throwing him the ball to be
Mike,
accurate with it.
they're like, Mike McDaniel, are you okay?
You
Like,
need to, you need to be Mike McDaniel for Halloween.
that would be funny, huh?
You gotta just get the joggers and
And just
a
look dumb,
headset. You'll be
like walk
golden.
around and like act like I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Exactly. There you go. That's a perfect facial expression.
I guess I'll stick with the Rich this one then, but yeah, I think the Colts are just the home team,
Yep.
and
Me
that's
too.
why. Man, but this next one, Danny, Detroit versus
And
Minnesota.
real, real quick though, Indy's gonna retire, or they're gonna put Dallas Clark in their Ring of Honor. Did you hear about that?
Oh, sometimes that's not good. Like when they do like ceremony and stuff.
It's like
They,
it's
well, sometimes it's good,
a
sometimes not.
jinx.
Dallas Clark,
Yeah.
man, he was such a good tight end, man. All right, Danny, you're up. Detroit or Minnesota?
I think Minnesota wins this game because they're at home, because they've had a week to rest. And then I don't know, man. Like the whole Aiden Hutchinson injury, they were already up by a lot when that happened. So for
Right,
them,
it's
like
gonna deflate them.
I think so. I think you're gonna see a different type of defense for the Lions, and in a shootout, I think Sam Darnold has shown this year, in 7 weeks, that he's able to have those shootouts with the likes of Justin Jefferson and whoever's catching the football. They have an explosive offense that can keep up with Detroit, I think. So I'm gonna pick Minnesota here. What about you?
So what's crazy too, Minnesota's doing what they need to do, right? Like we're talking about Cam Akers. What's even if Aiden Hutchinson is there, what's one way to beat Detroit besides being physical? Is swing passes and HB screens. Who towards your best player, right? So even if Aiden Hutchinson's there, I think they would have taken him out of the game because they're going to throw around him. So I'm picking Minnesota because like they have a formula that is working. And Detroit, even though they beat down Dallas, they're physical, they still showed some vulnerabilities. When things are not right, they kind of like take a step back and Goff gets a little icky. So I think Minnesota at home.
And their secondary gets a lot of pass interference calls. Mainly, it's
Dude,
freaking that rookie Terrion
I know
Arnold.
all the time. And plus, if you're gonna do that, just like there's I think
They're gonna get
Minnesota wins.
exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
The NFC East division.
The NFC least. Here we go. Are you ready, Danny, for this one?
Let's hear it.
Danny Pennies for this week becomes Danny Dimes, and he shocks the Eagles and upsets the Eagles. The New York Giants win.
They get revenge.
They get revenge.
Barkley.
Yes.
Did you hear what Barkley said today?
Mm-mm.
They asked him, how do you think, what type of reaction you're going to get from the New York Giants fans? He's like, I don't think I'm going to get booed. Do you think he gets booed?
Oh, yeah. He's going to get fucking booed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there might be some cheers, but no, did you go into the New York media? No, your ass getting booed, bro. I don't know who you playing with. Like he's gonna get booed. But I think New York shocks Philadelphia because of what we're saying, like Sirianni and Hurts, like they're just always just one play away from being dumb. And that in a division game, you can't do that.
Yeah. I agree with you there. So who do you got?
I got the Giants.
Giants. All right. Man, I don't trust the Eagles, but I gotta go different here. I'm gonna go with the Eagles just to be different here and gain some ground.
No.
I don't have any logic here in the reason why I'm picking the Eagles, but
you just want to win. You just want to win the race.
Yeah, I want the lead dog. That trophy. All right, Vegas and Rams.
This is gonna be. I mean,
Puka. I think Puka doesn't come back. Cooper Kupp might come back. And I wanted to bring this up earlier because we talked about Devontae Adams going to the Jets. What did I tell you about Antonio Pierce's message about calling his team out? And
you think it's hurt them?
No, I'm not saying that hurt them already, but I know that you and I were going back and forth, kind of giving our counter arguments about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
And I think to your point, you said something about having Devontae Adams kind of back you up with that. Now you don't have Devontae Adams. Who's going to back you up now? Like you have Max Crosby, who's the last remaining veteran that, is probably like the foundational piece of that team. So now, like you're going
You're
back and
playing
forth with the quarterback.
devil's advocate.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And if things kind of spiral out of control, Antonio Pierce can get fired after 1 year.
1 year, but the Raiders are known to do that even when things are okay. Like they're the most 1 year fired coaches I've ever seen. Like I mean, they get rid of people real quick, and that doesn't show any player any foundation good because you don't even trust the process. So, man, this game's tough to call. Like I'm only probably going with the Rams just because they're at home, and that's the only
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, there's going to be probably more action in the stands than in the football field.
Yeah, there's gonna be tons of fight. Man, those guards better be ready. Those cops better be ready because Raiders and Rams are gonna just throw down the whole game.
I got to show this real quick. Why do I have Tom Brady here? Because he's now the minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. How do you think
10%.
that's going to play?
Well, I think, future like going forward, it's gonna be helpful to Raiders because he not gonna accept losing. So he's gonna tell Mark Davis. See, that's what I'm saying. At least Mark Davis is not as senile as his father. At least he's trying. He brought in someone who knows how it is to win as a player, as a mentor, as now winning in life because he's still around the game and now he's calling plays on Fox, play by play. So like he brought in someone that his young group is gonna be like, yo, Tom Brady's in the building. Oh shit, okay, like this home, like that's the GOAT. Like, why are we not gonna listen to him? So if he backs Antonio Pierce, can you imagine everyone's gonna be like, oh, all right, well shit, all right.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. If Brady is the voice of reason to that organization, I think that bodes well for Antonio Pierce.
Right.
Because he knows him well as a player, as a competitor,
Right. He
and
played
he's gonna know him as
against
a
him.
coach.
You know what I mean? Pierce beat him twice in a Super Bowl. You don't think Brady remembers that? Be like, yo, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. He beat me twice on the biggest stage on the planet. So future wise, Brady's gonna get them going. But right now, I think the Rams just at home.
Yeah, I gotta take the Rams as well. I think the only brightest spot for the Raiders right now is Brock Bowers. That dude is easily becoming one of the best tight ends, receiving. Exactly what he showed in college, he's translating that into the NFL.
Right.
It's just a matter of time before he explodes. He just needs a good quarterback.
And look how Georgia's offense looks without him.
Yeah, they look like a different team.
Oh yeah.
Losing Adam McConkey and losing Brock Bowers.
McConkey. They all went to the California teams, Chargers and the
true.
Raiders. All right, Danny, Carolina Panthers or the Washington Commanders.
This one's easy. I think Washington's
3, 2, 1, Panthers.
Washington.
Yeah.
David, you still on? You want to talk some shit to Jay over here?
I think Washington is gonna they're negative, like they're supposed to win by 8 points. I think it's gonna be way worse. Like I think they're gonna just send Carolina to the number 1 pick yet again. Does Carolina get the 1 pick again, or do they trade that away too?
Yeah, you get the 1 pick this
year. So they finally get the
just,
first pick. Okay, they're on the trend of getting that 1 pick again. Honestly,
and they're gonna end with the likes of Sanders being their quarterback, or who's worthy of that number 1?
Poor kid. He's in Colorado, but he's not Shooter Sanders. What's that guy that plays wide receiver and cornerback? Hunter. Honestly, I think he's worth the number 1 pick just because he'll make your team a hell of a lot better because he could do both. He could do whatever you want, basically. But he's a diverse individual. But I honestly want to see him be cornerback, like a Trayvon Diggs in the NFL, just because like he'll be able to track more interceptions and be physical because like Diggs' case when he was healthy, like you could tell he's not 100% because he don't even want to tackle, and he used to be fucking physical, but like his mentality is a wide receiver, so like he'll be able to like follow wide receivers, you know what I mean? Like he's good at that. So, but yeah, I think Commanders are just gonna whitewash the Panthers.
I do too. It's not going to be close at all.
Woohoo! Super Bowl rematch. Ba, 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 ba. Danny, we are talking about duds earlier, right? If they lose this and then Dallas, what are you doing? I mean, what are you gonna be if you're San Francisco?
Yeah, then they will be a dud.
Right,
Honestly,
right.
they'll be
Because
too
I'm
far
like,
back.
they're gonna get their ass beat against Kansas City. I'm sure they're favored. You got to be joking me.
That's crazy.
They're a favorite against Machomies, and they can't beat them in the Super Bowl twice. I don't know about that. I don't think. All right, Danny, who do you get? Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs here.
Yeah,
I think the Chiefs are starting to figure out their identity now,
again,
even with Kareem Hunt's. Like,
that's not good.
yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And
Stupid
honestly, like,
Bills.
losing Rasheed Rice hurts them. And you saw that when they played the week before. Like, they just couldn't get the big play, and they couldn't get receivers open. So what happened? Kelsey became open, right? He became the person that he's known to become, being open right in the middle of the field. And so if that starts to happen, and then you have the explosive ability of a Worthy taking the deep route, yeah,
Danny,
good luck.
we know the Chiefs are smart, way smarter than everyone in Dallas, coaching staff, owner, GM, whatever. What if, because they know that they can be the first team to three-peat, what if they go get a Mike Williams or a T. Higgins
True.
to just grow that wealth? Because you get a T. Higgins, a Worthy, and a Kelsey, or if you get a Worthy and a Kelsey, and then a Mike Williams up top, jump ball in the end zone, like that's still going to be amazing for the Chiefs. Like,
Yeah,
sheesh.
it's over.
Yeah, it'd
Don't give
be.
him any ideas though.
But I'm saying, like, they're smart. Like, they've always known when to trade and when not to trade.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't
a good
know, man.
organization there. They do
Right,
things right there.
right. So yeah, I mean, even without a fantasy pick right now for their trade value, I think the Chiefs are going to beat the Niners again.
What do you think here? Sunday Night Football.
Dude, this game is going to be the most intriguing game. One, because if they lose, Aaron Rodgers is going to get someone fired. If Pittsburgh loses, they're going to be like, why did you get away from Fields? So, like, either team is boiling water and they're playing tug of war, and whoever falls in that boiling water is going to get fucking burned. And that's exactly what's happening. Um, this is scary. The Jets are favored. Oh man, that's wild. Oh my god, I don't even know. This one's probably the most hard for me so far. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh at home.
Pittsburgh.
That's the only reason.
I'm gonna say that if it does happen, because we don't know for sure if it's happened yet, but if Russell Wilson comes in, it's gonna blow up in their face. Um, he's gonna be rusty as hell, right? He hasn't played at all this year. Maybe a couple of snaps in the preseason, but that was a long time ago. Um, if you start to not be able to take the ball down the field, then the Jets are gonna get a comfortable lead,
Right.
and they have a good enough defense to keep Russell Wilson or even Justin Fields out of the end zone if it gets too far. So I think I'm gonna go with the Jets just for that reason. I don't trust what's going on in Pittsburgh, and maybe with Devontae Adams, this will motivate them a little bit better to find an identity on offense.
Oh yeah, this one's tough for me. I could go
Hey,
either
guess what?
way. Huh.
There's two Monday Night Football games again this week. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. So the bottom one's gonna be easy for me, but the top one on Monday night. This is
Man,
a
you should have came to Arizona for that Monday Night Football. We could have gone to see Justin Herbert for $19.
$19.
Telling you.
What the hell am I doing here?
All right,
What?
come on down.
Dude, $19. I'm gonna rent a car or something. What? That's that cheap over there?
Yeah,
Oh my god, Lord, let me win some money, dude! I would get to see my boy Herbert. Are you kidding me? For nineteen
that'd be a cool
dollars?
game to go to.
Yes. Oh my god. If I'm able to just pull a miracle soon, I'm gonna text you right away and be like, all right, this this is going down because I would
I'll be on
definitely travel.
standby.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, well the top game, Danny. This is a sneaky, amazing game. I think it's gonna be the last play, like basically like whoever has the ball last is what I'm saying is gonna probably win the game. Tampa plays physical. They're at home. Baltimore obviously has the leading rusher. They have Lamar Jackson. Oh man, this game's gonna be fun. I think I think Tampa stops the Ravens winning streak and Tampa pulls the upset at home.
Wow. Tampa's good. Tampa's been a really sneaky team. And I mean, look at them last week. They went on a shootout with the Saints and they killed them.
51, right?
And
They scored.
yeah, 51 points. That's crazy. And Baltimore, I mean, they figured it out in my opinion. I think that they're
Right.
relying on the run, that which is probably the reason why Henry's like probably the best rushing he's the best rusher in the league. But I don't know, man. This is tough because Tampa Bay plays really good at home. They're always a strong out at home. And if their offense is able to produce that, 51 points that they did last week, I think yeah, I can see the Tampa Bay Bucks beating the Baltimore Ravens. But I don't know, man. Baltimore, I just feel like they're probably the better team on paper. So I'm going to go with Baltimore here. So Bucks and Ravens. Got it. And then we both agreed on the Chargers, right? Just confirming that.
Yeah, there's no questioning on that one. The Chargers are gonna beat up on the Cardinals for sure. Scramble gamble, man. He's just so inconsistent. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the most confusing players I've ever like even wanted to follow. Like Kyler Murray, one day he'll do a Hail Mary and look like God's gift, and then the next week it's like he looks like a day one rookie. And it's like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Kyler Murray just is not consistent at all. And
Right.
yeah, I think that hurts like the potential of a Marvin Harrison. Like you have a number one receiver, yet you're not giving him the ball because you're running all over the field and getting
Yeah.
sacked. Like,
Scramble gamble. Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, I'll go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are starting to look better on defense.
I love the makeup, like hardball, making him play
Yeah.
physical, and he's not getting Herbert killed like previous years. So
It's nothing flashy, but it works. Like he has his team
right,
playing hard.
right. And Harbaugh
And the
wanted to go to
Chargers,
Dallas, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget. Let's just point that shit out there again. But our owner,
he,
you know,
I'm telling you, Harbaugh would have killed Jerry by now.
oh wait, better for us. Like I'm down, but I'm saying like at least we'd be winning.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that was a fun episode.
Dude, man, good to be back and a lot of hostility and fun and greatness and David and I don't know who Alex Smith was, which Alex Smith, man, if that was Alex Smith from Utah, San Francisco, and Kansas City, that'd be so dope, in Washington. But thank you for chiming in. Like, follow, share, please. We need more followers and feedback. So let us know how we did. Gabe, as always, it's always awesome that you chime in with us and text us and all that good stuff. Danny, how do you think we did, Danny? What's going on?
We did good, man. It was good to be back. I missed the conversations that we have every week about the football,
Right.
the NFL.
Yeah, it felt weird 2 weeks off.
It felt empty, like something was missing,
Yeah,
right? So
big chunk of my whole in my heart. I was like, "What's happening?"
you complete me.
And then I realized, oh wait, that's a big Dallas right there. Right? The whole
Yep, that's
DC Dallas Cowboy.
What Jerry Jones did to you.
Oh,
But no, it was good to be back. I can't wait to talk football again next week to see what the outcomes are of Week 7.
right.
See if any other trades go through because I'm sure it's bound to happen. Right, we're so close to trade deadline. I'm sure there's gonna be more activity coming in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, we'll see what happens next week, and we'll get together and talk some more football.
Yes, sir. It's always been awesome, sir. We'll see you next time.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch up with you all next week. Peace.
Later.